Kristen Stubbins is a consummate corporate traveller.
I was one of the firm's most frequent flyers, actually.
She's the lead auditor at a major professional services firm.
I would be travelling overseas probably once a month, whether that be for client meetings or for international conferences, and then often one trip a week to Melbourne, Brisbane. I'm based in Sydney, so somewhere around Australia.
Now it's less airport lounges and more video calls into people's lounge rooms.
The technology worked for both us and all of our clients. We were able to do all of that virtually.
Boston Consulting Group predicts the long-term impact of the COVID crisis will be more pronounced in business travel than leisure travel. 9 in 10 executives it surveyed globally expect to travel less post-COVID.
The duration of the pandemic, I guess, has taught us how to work differently. During the GFC, during SARS, during 9/11, they were quite short, sharp crises where behaviour didn't shift.
Business travel is big business for airlines. Domestically, corporate travellers account for about 40% of passengers, but 50 to 60% of revenue, as much as $7.5 billion. Internationally, it's about 10% of passengers, but as much as 30% or more than $10 billion of airline revenue. And it's not just the airlines. Australian corporate travel services, including agents, brought in $3.5 billion pre-pandemic.
How did you go with Kimberley?
Travel agencies were inundated with calls and rebooking requests as Brisbane went into lockdown and other states closed their borders.
We have seen situations where people have been in the air and then landed in a particular state and realised that if they don't get back on a flight to fly back home straight away, they're going into 14 days quarantine.
Domestic border closures are a short-term hurdle, but there's a longer-term trend that could see less time spent in airport terminals, corporate climate pledges. PwC is among those committing to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2030.
We as a firm and our clients are telling us as well, we're going to be much more considerate about the way we think about the travel. And I think, jumping on a plane to go to a meeting in Hong Kong for one meeting, I just think those type of quick trips are going to cease.
The corporate events sector is hoping conferences will still be considered an essential reason to travel. The International Convention Centre in Sydney put on 700 events in 2019, with 1.4 million visitors.
Getting those events back into venues like ours, and certainly the other venues in capital cities, will drive that spending and that economic benefit.
Events are returning to the centre without international attendees, but Jeff Donaghy is confident the conference experience can't be replaced.
The body language, the ideas that spark a discussion outside the formal session.
The energy that we're feeling when people are getting back together in person actually is incredible.
Tom von Ortsen is anticipating a 2 to 3 year recovery for the domestic business travel market, but the outlook for international is more concerning.
I could imagine travel between Europe and the US is actually going to open up quite quickly because people have gotten used to living with the virus. And I think here in Australia we will have a more difficult time just opening up.
Views reserved for Australian business travellers for a while yet.